first off, everyone needs to listen to your podcast. I think you guys are probably my most favorite industry podcast out there because you guys really teach actors how to actually be entrepreneurs, how to actually market themselves. So I also do feel like every actor should think of themselves as a business person.
Hello, ghouls and goblins. Welcome to Creative Risk in today's episode with my good friend, Mr. Jelani Remy. I've known Jelani for so long, literally I think 20 years. Jelani, I think it's been 20 years. I'm thinking about it now. I'm pretty sure it's been 20 years. Oh my God, we're getting old. And we were so happy to have Jelani on. Jelani is amazing. Let me tell you quickly about Jelani, and then I'll also tell you why Jelani is amazing. Jelani is a New Jersey native, which is how we met, and Montclair State University alum. Previous shows of his include Back to the Future, where he played Goldie Wilson and Marvin Berry. He was so good. His song stole the show. He was Simba in The Lion King for a long time. We did Ain't Too Proud together, where he eventually took over for Eddie Kendricks. Smokey Joe's Cafe, which he was also great in. He also did the MC at Cabaret Goodspeed, loved that. In the Trenches, Love Around the Block, The Apple Boys, Mozart, Her Story, and he did a couple productions of High School Musical 1 and 2. He is a Paper Mill Playhouse Rising Star, which is actually how we met, and a Cheetah Rivera Award recipient. And the conversation was really great because Jelani is so charismatic and so charming. And what came through in our conversation was his love of the work in the industry and the people in it, and his a positive approach to building relationships and growing a career. And honestly, that was probably my biggest takeaway, was the power of maintaining a powerful a positive point of view and perspective in what can be remarkably challenging. So, thanks, Jelani. Love you. Enjoy, y'all.
Well, you look fly. You look better than both of us. I got a good amount of sleep. You're looking like no, you're looking very colorful. I look like Look at Joshua.
You look good.
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
I don't know, that shirt.
I have a question. What are these percentages? You don't like
this shirt? Wait, I love this shirt. You don't
what
like this shirt, Mike?
What percentages? The uploading?
Like
I
next...
like this shirt.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, it just means it's uploading.
Jelani, do you not like this shirt either?
I think this shirt is very becoming.
What? But really, it's so funny. Mike's always like coming for my outfits. What don't you like? No, but I want you to say out loud. I don't like that shirt because
it's like wow. It's like well, how would I put this? I feel like it's like something like a.
It's giving like a like a candy striper.
Yeah, it's giving like a hairdresser in like Rahway, New Jersey, like in the 90s. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, it was a very expensive shirt from a very cool vintage shop here in Bushwick.
Drag him, tell him, let him know.
But I also think I could like wear like anything and you would come for my clothing.
That's true. That's true. Because I'm very fashionable.
Literally. But you do have good fashion sense. But I think literally, Jelani, anything I have on. Mike, I showed him I love those Crocs. I got the ones you have, and he's like, they're poop color.
Let's go back. Crocs?
I know, but actually, Mike got them. They're Mike. They're the same ones Mike got.
These Crocs.
No, not those. Not those.
Okay. Anyway, this is a really enriching conversation. Jelani looks like literally he's gonna kill himself. Anyway, so you're like,
not at all.
No.
Jelani, so we were just talking about New Jersey days, and because I've known Jelani now for 21 years.
Oh my gosh!
So since you both were zero, that's wonderful.
Correct.
Literally.
Correct.
But Jelani, remind me, when did we actually meet? Was it Paper Mill? When was the first time we actually met?
Our first encounter was 100% at the Paper Mill Playhouse summer program.
Okay, I'm
lying. No, it was actually the Rising Star Awards.
The Rising Star Awards?
Is that true?
Jelani and I were both nominated for Rising Star Awards at Paper Mill Playhouse. I was nominated for Les Mis, and Jelani was nominated for The Wiz
Yeah,
as Scarecrow.
correct. I was one of the only African Americans in the production.
That sounds like every high school production of The Wiz everywhere. That is wild.
I know. I heard that. I hear that they do like white productions of The Wiz, and this is like just do The Wizard of Oz.
You got to work with what you got, but it enriched the lives of so many.
Yeah.
I guess that's crazy.
It
to
did.
me.
No, I'm sure it did.
did.
I listen. I did The Wiz in middle school. It was
You did?
yeah.
Who did you
I was
play?
a lion, but it was half black, half white. Like it was like a it was like 50-50, but I was the lion. But
That to me is
Josh?
crazy
yeah,
behavior.
it was kind of crazy. It was disturbing. Yeah.
Well, so I do remember this. So Jelani and we all had to sing snippets of our songs.
They do like a little medley.
Ah.
Exactly. And I remember I sang Bring 'Em Home. What did you sing?
It had to have been I was born on the day before yesterday.
I
don't remember, but I do remember.
Yeah.
On the hills. Yep, that's a good song.
And there was another guy from Les Mis, Javert. Remember who was the other guy not nominated? There was
Not a clue.
and a guy from I have a tale of memories. It's funny that I remember this. And a guy from Man of La Mancha who was nominated for and sang The Impossible Dream. Anyway, so Jelani and I met then, and then when you were Paper Mill Rising Star nominee, Mike, you got to do the summer program for free.
Oh.
And we went and did the summer program, and Jelani did I Go to Rio. There's a big showcase at the end from Boy from Oz, and I did There Is
In
a
a
Sucker.
silver button-down shirt.
That picture is
with
still on
Luke.
the walls at Paper
Legendary.
Mill.
Legendary. And Josh did There's a Sucker Born Every Minute
That's right.
and wowed the crowd.
You're such an asshole.
You did.
Mike, but my song was but There Is a Sucker Born Every Minute.
Yeah.
I mean, it did not wow anybody, but that's okay.
What?
Jelani, that's not a wow
I
song.
still talk about that today.
Well, I will say, so I read with people on We Audition. Mike knows this, and I don't think I told you this, Jelani. I went on to We Audition, and this person, Paulie Pontrelli now, came on and was like, do you remember me? We did Paper Mill 20 years ago, and you sang There Was a Sucker for Every
Iconic.
Wow.
Iconic.
Anyway, so that's when we first met, and much to Jelani's chagrin, our friendship and professional relationship has continued to this day. Because it was kind of surreal. I mean, we've now sung in a few random shit things over the year, not shit things, but shit over the
Freudian
years.
slip.
We've done some cool things together, but
We have.
I also worked for your mom in her yoga studio.
That is right, Jelani.
That was also a tidbit.
At Lotus Yoga. Lotus
Wow.
Yoga.
That was so random. I don't even.
I do remember that. I'm turning off the TV, but here's the first question about the high school shit. Jelani, actually, I want to tell another high school story because it relates to this. Jelani, I'll never forget this. I was telling this story the other day. Jelani was doing a production of Pippin at Cedar Grove High School where he went. And he calls me one day and he says something along the lines of, we lost one of our piano players for the evening show. Could you fill in? And I said yes, because I'm a good friend. No, I said yes. But what I did not know was that it wasn't like Keys 2 or Keys 3. You had lost your conductor.
The head honcho. Josh essentially MD'd the show.
with how much notice?
But you were that boy. You were
Wow.
with zero
No
notice.
notice.
But Joshua was that kid. He
Right.
was that artiste. He was the trained piano player. He was the amazing, incredible singer. He was that guy that you just went to. You were like our Schroeder, essentially. Like you were that guy.
Well, if I remember correctly, Jelani, we had to restart the finale a couple of times.
You can remember that? Why? Was it me?
No, it was me.
Oh.
Because I was stressed because also it was the old school score, meaning when it was like kind of looks like it's handwritten.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and you have to know, like, I know like the basics, Corner of the Sky, grammar. I know like some of the basics, but it's not like I know Pippin in and out.
And it's really tricky. You did great though. Come on.
That was a high stress situation. But Jelani,
Agreed.
this is my first question though for you, because I think this is true for all three of us actually. You know, and Jelani has, as he is wont to do, has amazing relationships with everyone in his life because he's a good person, and so has maintained relationships with the school. Because I remember I came back and sang at a Christmas event you were doing many years ago. Actually, I was watching Meet Me in St. Louis last night, and have yourself a merry. And I was thinking about that's what I sang at that little event you did. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Was your high school theater experience as transformational for you as it was for us? Because I think it was for you, Mike, too.
The answer is yes. It was. I think it gave me like the foundation to want to turn the passion into purpose. That's what I've gathered from that. You know, because we were a small school, it wasn't a theater program, but we had that teacher that had that passion for it. And she really made us all feel seen and included, and she still does.
Is that Jen Shu?
It's Jen Jessen. Jen Shu's at Passaic Valley High School nearby.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. But yeah, it was great, and it was just the best experience ever. That led me to do more like community theater or like audition for governor school and not get in. But it created an opportunity.
Right. The New Jersey Governor School?
Yes. And they sent me for dance, and it's like I can dance, but like people were doing like across the floor ballet, and I was doing like cheerleading. It was
oh, that's right. But you cheer too, don't you?
Yeah, but different foundational backgrounds.
It's not a Shanae, whatever.
You know, they're giving chasses, and I was giving like cartwheel.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, yeah.
Mike just did one of his first professional musicals.
I did, yeah.
Tell me about it.
It was, do you know? It was disturbing. People walked out. No, it was. Do you know Gulf Shore Playhouse in Naples, Florida? They just built like this. It's like a $72 million theater they just built down there. It's like this. It's been around for a while, but we did Anything Goes, and I was
Who did you play?
I was Hope Harcourt.
Who do you think?
No, I was Reno Sweetie. I was Reno. No, I was Moonface Martin, and it was awesome. Yeah, there were some people. I know Josh Canfield was in it.
He's great.
Sarah Bowden was in it. She's doing Smash. Sarah Etsy was in it. Yeah, like a couple. Yeah, a lot of people from the J. Aubrey Jones. You know J. Aubrey Jones by chance?
I don't.
Oh, he's so funny. But anyway, yeah. So you know, it was fun. It was an interesting experience. But you know, it's like I just respect more and more what you guys do, because I'm like, Jesus, like I'm literally walking across the stage, and I like had like 3 dressers with like ice packs and like fans like backstage. Like meantime they're like tap dancing for 8 minutes, and I'm like, friendship. I'll literally walk across the stage, and I'm like over the table, like I just ran a 5K. I'm just like it's disturbing.
But you and I both know your destiny eventually. You and I both know your destiny eventually, and it's what we got to work on together.
Listen,
that's right.
Listen, Johnny was super. I showed it to my who did I show it to? I forgot who I showed it to. Someone's like, that Timon is great. Who is that?
Stop
no,
it.
I swear to God. I swear, like,
knock it off.
Swear to God. But no, yeah, that was anyway.
You did that together.
Yeah.
But I mean that. I do mean that. You're wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
And I do think he would do great in musical theater. I told him this all the time. I think he would be a really interesting addition to the musical theater landscape.
But let me ask you something.
In
my opinion.
I didn't know this. So you were going to Montclair State University, is that right? And then you got the High School Musical tour, is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So wait,
Correct.
What was? And then you went straight to Lion King. I mean, this is kind of, I'm assuming.
I did High School Musical 2 after that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we did High School Musical 2. We put that together, and did it in Atlanta at Tuts.
So,
Oh,
and you
tons.
didn't have a chance to technically go back to school. I have, what was going on? Like, two questions. Number one, like, was there anything, any part of you that was like, oh, I should be, like, any doubt about staying in school and not taking those jobs? And I don't see why you would, but is there anything you sort of regret about not finishing school? I don't see what that would be, but I'm just curious to get your thoughts about that.
I think that's a great question. And I think the thing about it is the incomplete of it all.
Sure.
Like, yes, I'm getting a great experience in the field, but there's something about completing the journey that is always with me. Like, oh, I wish maybe I still can, do like the whole strangers with candy thing and go back. But I also think getting the experience was crucial and also defining. Like I feel like the rest of my college was like with those High School Musical days that led me to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing.
And so what was that like to go from like getting like that sort of training at school to like what would you say was like the marked difference between like on like in rehearsal professional like experience training, and how is that training different? Like could you put words to how it was different?
I could put two words to it. Clay James.
Uh,
He was my professor in college that really told us like it was
yeah.
and ran the auditions and ran rehearsals very similar to how things are run in the business. And he wasn't afraid, he didn't sugarcoat with us. He definitely was very he shared his genuine knowledge and experience
Yeah.
and with his own flair. So he prepared me more than I think he'll ever know to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
That was going to be a question for you, because I knowing as well that again you didn't necessarily finish out those 4 years. Who have been some of like your most important mentors or influences in your life, and are there any specific ideals or values that have stayed with you?
Mm. Starting back, Jen Jessen from high school, for she's still in my life. We still have evolved and gone through so many things and work with the kids now. Clay James, he's one of them. Then it turned to seeing people in the workplace that I admire. So like Jeff Calhoun as a director, I think he's incredible and taught me a whole lot. Great music directors like Brian Louiselle, who is this wonderful composer and took me under his wing and had me sing new projects that he was working on. Or whenever there was, a moment we can like jam out, we would do that. People like Ben Vereen, who I discovered on video, but then got to meet in person and got to sit down with and get
Wow.
fuel from. And he became someone that he's come to every show that I've done,
Wow.
so that's pretty awesome. And also like my friends, some friends that I get inspired by, or like people that I meet, like my good friend Ira Gilbert, who's like a Britannica of wealth of information that I can just sit down and just talk to him about things going on or things coming up. And he'll come in and say like, this works, this doesn't work. I like this. Remember 1972 when and like,
Wow.
it's just getting all these nuggets of people. And even like Joshua, like I check in with Joshua all the time and we get to chat and compare and giggle and laugh because it's a different thing because we know where we've come from and to see how we're growing. I'm really grateful that the theater universe puts people in your life that you can sort of like use as wealth of information and comfort and
Right.
direction.
Right.
That's the community of it all, right?
Right. Right. That's awesome.
It's funny. It's funny even talking to you now, Jelani, because to be honest with you, I
Oh
was
gosh.
actually I was saying this
Hold
to
up.
Mike the other day.
Uh-oh.
When Mike was like, "Oh," he was like, "Do you want? Am I going to be on this podcast?" And I was like, "Well, absolutely. Like, are we going to do this one together?" Because I kind of feel like we know each other in such different ways that it's even funny asking you some of these questions. I mean, some of them I literally don't know the answers to, but low key, it's like a bit almost put upon for me to be like, tell me about your biggest, just to say, because I feel like I'm talking to like my cousin. But with that said, so after High School Musical 2, you did Lion King for how many years was it? Eight or so years?
Almost 10, actually.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, it was that was to me was like university, grad school, you know. Um, I started in the ensemble and started working my way up. Josh, you know this story, but for the listeners.
I don't.
You don't? I thought we talked about this.
Wait. Did we? Wait. Tell the story.
Well, yeah. So I got Lion King actually because of Paper Mill Playhouse. That's the song I sang in their showcase. So I knew Endless Night because Rob McClure had me sing it when I was 16. So when it was time to audition for the show, they asked if I knew the song, and I did, and went down to the Minskoff and saw the show and had a callback after callback after callback. And then went to Vegas to cover Simba and be in the ensemble.
That I knew, yeah.
So I did that for maybe 6 months and then switched with another swing who was having just, it's not for everyone. Swinging is not an easy thing. And I'm the kind of person that studies everything anyway. So it worked out and I took over as a swing and I loved it. And then the big change happened about a year later, or not even a year later, and I took over as Simba in Las Vegas. Then went to the tour, did tour life for about a little over 4 years.
Wow.
And replaced Wallace, right?
I replaced Adam Jacobs, I believe.
Okay.
But Wallace May had been there within that at some point. And then they did the Simba Samba again, and I moved to Broadway. The Broadway guy went to Vegas, and the Vegas guy went to tour.
Wow.
Why would someone want to go from New York to Vegas?
It wasn't necessarily their decision. They just wanted to spice it up a little.
Got it. And then you did it for how many years in New York again?
New York, I think another 4.
It's so bad that I didn't see it. It's so bad. I always say that. I openly say that. I'm like, that was so bad that I didn't see.
That's okay.
But I feel bad. I do feel bad about it.
That's bad. But what were some, when you say it was like grad?
To be fair, I didn't see you in Les Mis. Do you know what I mean? So it's.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
So we're even. Don't feel bad.
But my question is when you say it's like grad school, what was like grad school about it for you? Like, what were the big takeaways doing it? I mean, 10 years, there was probably many, but what was
the biggest takeaway was doing the show consistently and how to keep it fresh and how to keep it exciting, how to like really fine-tune craft it to make it uniquely your own.
Yeah, sure.
Because there are people that have done it before you. I did the math. Like I'm the 10th Simba.
Wow.
On Broadway, right? So like there's been people before, there's a blueprint, there's a guideline.
Right.
So how do you then take that guideline and authentically make it something that is sustainable, original to you, and exciting?
Right. Well, how do you do that, would you say?
Trial and error.
Yeah.
Trial and error, and really there's more to the story than people know. There's a lot that goes on with the character work and the development of it to tell the story in a way that is true. You know how we sort of break these things down, and as you go through life and go through traumas and triumphs and you go through the raw emotions, you can sort of remember them and put them in as needed.
Right.
As your recipe.
Right.
Sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's not enough, but when it's just right, like that feeling.
Well, that's such a hard, I mean, I've only done it once where I was a replacement for somebody, and that's always such a hard task because it's hard to feel ownership over it, right? Because like some of the choices, macro choices, like you didn't build from the ground up, but they were somebody else's, and so finding your organic way into it is very challenging. And so what I hear you saying partially is like almost surprisingly that a lot of that making it feel organic is actually happening behind the scenes. It's not so much about like, how am I going to make it my own and do different? It's like, well, how do I deeply personalize and get behind these choices? And if it does come off different, great, but it may not, because I still have to do the things that are in the blocking. I still have to do do the blocking, do overall the same, idea or broad paint brushstrokes of the performance. But if I've done that work behind the scenes to make it feel personal to me, then you sort of trust that uniqueness will come through. Am I kind of putting words in your mouth, or is that kind of what you're saying? Or
No, I think you're taking a beautiful take on it. It's about understanding and accepting the guideline
Right.
and playing within
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
Right. And like what they also love to do is like a table read
Oh,
where you strip
interesting.
it down and it's always going back to the text and always going back to sitting down and just being and connecting
Right.
and like taking away the frills, taking away,
Right.
the what we think we have to do
Right. Right.
and just understanding.
Right.
Is Ant still part of that? Does he still do a lot
You
of
know,
that?
Ants and I haven't fully worked all that together. There's a different director when I was there, but he is still involved for sure.
I haven't seen him in years and years. Last time I saw him was at a rest stop in New Jersey somewhere randomly.
Oh, okay.
I know that sounds,
Yeah.
that
The
sounds
la-
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to him last time when I got the opportunity to do the show most recently in Abu Dhabi. And some stuff went down and I was just there for a short time and it was when, the row was rampant and there was not a lot of people left and I had just gotten there and you have to tech when you do the show. You have to like wait to tech. Like, you have to go through all the
Yeah.
things and I hadn't done that yet. And the show was so down. I was like, I remember some stuff if you need me to jump in and I got to do like ensemble specialty stuff during that run, which was stuff I hadn't touched in 8 years, but and
Wow.
had no rehearsal, just had to go and do it. And like, if I never do the show again, like that moment of it all coming full circle is enough.
Yeah.
It was just magical, and like that's the why. Like, and I remember Ants writing because I guess he heard what happened. I had no costumes, just had to just jump in stuff because the rules are different over there. But like, that's the why. Like that's and it never left. It never left. You know.
does Lion, I mean, maybe this is a silly question, but I don't know. Does Lion King have, like, the show itself, does it have an incredible fan base? Does it have a huge fan base or not really?
I mean, once you see it, you become a fan.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. It's just a show that's just like a phenomenon.
Hmm.
And then when you see the heart behind it, it's something. It's just beautiful.
I ask because
I can't believe you haven't. Yes, because you haven't seen it. That's why.
actually I saw the show when it first came out. I
Oh,
remember I was a kid and I remember seeing the show when it first came out, but I think it was probably in like Los Angeles at the Pantages or something like that. It's probably the tour.
sure.
But I remember it being, wonderful. But my question for you is, do you find that being part of the Lion King family for as long as you have has stuck with you? As in, do the fans, you're so good with your fans, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But do you find that that's stayed with you and that it feels like a special imprint just because of how iconic this production is?
I think there'll always be a connection between me and that character. You know, me and the big and Simba. There'll always be a love connection with us, and I think because I did it for so long, and I really I love him.
Yeah.
I think that there's always going to be an association with it.
So what's kind of, I mean, Mike, you know this, but for those of you who don't know, what's kind of crazy back in 2018, whenever it was that Jelani, after we had done, when we were coming into New York with Ain't Too Proud, Jelani joined the company originally as a swing, talking
Hmm.
about those difficulties it really does take, especially in a show like that. That's not, I'm not saying it's any easier with a show like Lion King, but I know how hard it was for some of those guys, doing that and Ain't Too Proud. So Jelani first joined as a swing and then kind of very quickly took over full time as Eddie Kendricks. Were
He was
you
great in that.
surprised?
Yeah, you were great in that.
Yeah. Mike
Yeah,
always
I
talks
saw-
about that.
yeah.
He saw you do it and said you're wonderful.
Was I surprised?
And well, yeah. Were you
Yeah,
surprised at how quickly it
yeah.
came together? And were you scared?
Terrified. I was terrified. But it goes back to show what we were talking about before, Mike, about like stepping into something and like you have to just make it your own and bring your game and being okay with the guideline. You know,
Right.
it's being comfortable uh being your own.
Yeah.
But not like trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right. Exactly.
Paying attention to the guideline and paying attention to the filling in as needed. And like that's what Ain't Too Proud was for me. It was a new adventure because I'd been so in that Lion King world for so long. I knew I needed to kind of work my way in work my way up, like start over,
Right.
because it's a different ball game outside of the, in the bubble. So I would say yes to anything, and I thought there'd be a good opportunity to learn and do a different show, and yeah, man, I had the swing sort of capacity, so why not? But then finding out Jeremy was leaving the show so fast, um,
Yeah, because how long did he do it for? He did it like
he did it till the Tonys, and
right.
6
went on
months.
to New
That's
Adventures,
right. Yeah,
and
it was a
it was
short
just
time.
happening so
Right.
fast. He was leaving, and an opportunity. I was really fortunate. Really
And
fortunate,
you
but
grew
and I had no time to like practice. It was just go. You'll get good at it as you do it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
and
it's a
you
totally
did.
different type of singing for me. It's a totally different style, different. It was a different machine to have to figure out.
Wow.
So, you actually I wanted to maybe talk about this later, but I want to talk about it now because you kind of said something. Someone who knows you well, and Mike, you and I have talked about this with Jelani.
Hmm.
We have because this
Yes.
idea that so you did Lion King, as we know, for a long time, and then yeah, here's why I think it might be surprising to people that you were swinging something like Ain't Too Proud as soon as just a matter of a few years ago, and it's because you have really grown a career um, uh, that I think has positioned you to really be considered a true Broadway star, truly,
Yes.
Jelani. And a large part, you've heard me say this. I really think you are ubiquitous. You are fucking everywhere. Actually, I'm going to tell this quick story, Mike. I cannot have told you this. I'll never forget. On playbill.com, they were doing this like masked singer shit, and I said to Jelani, I was like, I know you're one of the. There was like a fucking bumblebee, and I was like, I know you're the fucking bumblebee, and Jelani was like, no, and I was like, I know, like you're one of these fucking characters, and sure enough, I think he was literally the fucking bumblebee,
I was the
but
bumblebee. I was.
but
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 I had to not tell.
I know, but this is what, and maybe it's because I know you, and so I knew you were probably lying to me, but this is kind of what's amazing to me. You really, yes, and sometimes probably too much so. That's a conversation for another time. But you really, whether it's your career or relationships, you really are always you lean in, no matter the scope of the opportunity. And for me, then subsequently, you have built this fan base and community around you that people trust you, they like you, and you have built a career in many
Yeah.
ways off of sort of not only embracing the industry and the community at large, but sort of letting it embrace you. And is this something that you are aware of? Does this make sense what I'm talking about? And does it feel true to you?
I think it goes back to like the college days where it's always like, yes, and what are we doing? Let's do it together. And like, I love what we get to do. I love it so much. I love the experience. I think any experience can help shape you for better, for what you sort of take what you need, and you never know till you try. And like, we get to spread joy. That's the thing, is spreading the joy, and like, and having fun. But also, like, now that I'm getting older, it's about also teaching others how.
Right.
And I'm bringing the people up with me. Like, I brought you into that pit and Pippin because I knew you were fantastic and could do it. You know what I mean? And I liked you. And in this business, it's really fun and invigorating to see others doing it, and to keep wanting to do it, and to wanting to evolve yourself as
Right.
well. You know?
Well, I think what's special about what you're talking about, and the vibe that I do get, in my few interactions with you, is it's so easy to be jaded by everything, and to be like, oh, it's so bad, everything's bad and this business sucks and we're not appreciated, or I should have gotten the, it's so easy to find resentment everywhere.
I agree.
And so
Well, because it's easy because we're supposed to, there's so many talented people out
right,
there all doing the same thing, and we're all so. But I like to think that there's space for everyone. There's
right,
a lane. There's an outlet. There's some sort of outlet,
right.
and you have to find your outlet.
And you lead with the gratitude and abundance mindset. I am curious, like, because I would say, like, over the past couple years, like, 4 years maybe, I feel like, your brand recognition has exponentially grown, in the community. And like Josh was saying, like, I guess I have two questions. Why do you think that is? If you've given it thought, like, why do you think that's happening? And how are you dealing with it currently? It sounds like, by giving back in a lot of ways, but does it make sense when I'm saying, like, I've noticed, like, I don't know, Joshua, if you have, because you've been tracking more long-term Jelani's career, but I think the past couple years I've really noticed a, larger brand recognition in the community. Does this make sense what I'm talking about?
It does. And I think Back to the Future has helped with that brand,
Sure.
giving me my first original role.
Sure.
Creating something, being the first cast, because I have been stepping into shows, and well, Smokey Joe's also helped.
Right.
But I also think it's been a lot of the outside work of like putting together shows for Broadway Cares, directing
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and building my own sort of outlet of creative, and
Yes.
bringing in new people, and sharing it with everyone. Like I host this Next Gen Spotlight where I get to curate and showcase the next generation of artists and new works, and just trying to like give others the opportunity that I had.
Yes. That's I didn't know
Because
that you did that. So this, what's this next gen thing? That thing sounds really cool.
it's called Next Gen. It's a subdivision of Broadway Cares of young professionals, and like I like to think of new programming that we can do to fundraise, but also showcase.
Right.
And we do it. We've done it 3 times now. This is our next year, and it's already on the schedule for next year. And I get to showcase the new work. I get to showcase new artists, and it's sort of like my own variety show. I have a dance piece in there. Like it's just something that people can come and safely enjoy a showcase. And I like to use the Jimmy's Kids. I like to use some new talent. It's basically like I said, the opportunities that I had growing up, and putting together my own variety show, because I've always loved a variety show, and so
That's
I get to
awesome.
do that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, it makes sense that, like, when you give to your community, the community gives back. That makes complete sense.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry, Joshua.
Well,
I want to leave it better than I found it.
Right.
I'm trying to leave it better than I found it.
Right.
Again, a part of that is your, I would argue, your relationship with your fans. It's one thing for the next generation of artists, but something that you do a very good job of, and I literally have seen you do it, whether it's like in person or online, is that you take care of and engage the people who come to see your work. And I'm not just talking about complete strangers. I am talking about all the way back even to high school, the people who've always been fans of yours. And you've done such, again, a good job of cultivating a community around you. And then they really do love you, and they follow you, and they stick by you.
Jersey strong.
Jersey fucking strong.
Jersey strong.
What is one interaction or moment with a fan that has had a lasting impact on you?
Just one? I mean, most recently I made a friend because of my old roommate, Chris Cafaro. His mom had a gal pal that worked at Xerox that I met at a dinner in between shows on a whim, and then they came to the show, and I gave them a tour, and we are different in ages, but just connected. And then when the world shut down, like she was my phone buddy, and we would just catch up and talk about life and days, and she would send me things, and like we got really close and developed a beautiful friendship. And it was because I said yes to a dinner, and said yes to taking them backstage, and they become a beautiful friend in my life. And it's just because of that. And like, or another friend I've met, like, just they've seen the show, they saw Smokey Joe's like 18 times.
Wow.
Because her husband passed away, and her husband was sick, and it was his happy place, and it was his happy thing. And we ended up just, we got to go out in the crowd, and you could see people, and we're like, "You're here again. Oh, you're here again. Who are you?" And we got to talking and then connecting, and now they come to, family events because she lost her husband and she's become like part of the family now.
Well, you know what's so beautiful about what you're
So,
talking about? One thing I'm really taking from this that's really touching to me is like it's so easy to feel like you're on the fucking hamster wheel with this bullshit, with this career sometimes. Like, how am I? It's survival, right? Chasing the next opportunity, chasing the next gig. It's like, how is this? And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for all of this. I think that there is. But what I really appreciate about this conversation, when you're talking about like creative outlets, genuinely connecting with people, leading with these values, genuine, one could say it's about cultivating your fan base or whatever. What I hear you saying is just being interested in other people and wanting to forge those genuine relationships, not just because they get you something, but because what
they feed your
they feed
soul.
your soul and what the fuck
It's
else this is all about.
Along with because I do agree with you, Mike, about leading with positivity and leading with a sense of genuinely giving back. But the other thing, Jelani, and Mike, this is, I would argue, a difference between you and I, too, than someone like Jelani. As of this recording, Jelani is currently appearing as Goldie Wilson in Back to the Future on Broadway. It is my favorite song in the show, that broom and the gold lame hat. Anyway, so he this is your day off, and yet you, like you said, you drove to New Jersey at 5 a.m. because you're looking after your mom who just had surgery. And then tonight you're potentially going to go and hang with this Guy Emmett Cohen, this wonderful musician who actually went to Montclair High School as well and is in our circle. But what's my point? If it was my day off, I'd be doing nothing.
Yeah, but you have to understand, I'm here right now to eat leftovers. So I'm going to have a feast of Thanksgiving leftovers, enjoy the day, and then get fueled. It's also rare that I'm not performing somewhere tonight,
But
and
that's
I
what I'm
might actually, but I
saying.
might at this jam session, to be honest. But like I'm a workaholic. I love it because it's I love being able to sing somebody's new piece and bring it to life for their gala. I love being able to entertain people for just a little bit. Like we are like, especially now more than ever, like to allow somebody to escape and to feel good and to
Yeah.
put a smile on somebody's face. It's my purpose.
Yeah.
It's just how I feel about it.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I mean by you being ubiquitous. You are everywhere, and I don't even mean this. This might sound pejorative or negative. I don't mean to it. You put yourself into the industry. You are like, I'm here and I want to share my work and I want to be part of your work. And I'm just speaking for myself because I'm a big introvert. And I become very insular, especially after a show, or especially when I'm in a show. I'm like very protective and like I don't do anything. And
Mhm.
and you just sort of keep opening up and broadening. And I just think that is kind of part of this theme that we're talking about,
Mhm.
of giving back and including. And I mean, Mike, I've told you this about even my own relationship with fans and projects and becoming more insular as opposed to being more open. That's all.
Well, and
But there is a way to be insular. There is a way. It's about balance, right? Like
Right.
there are days where I will go right home. I have my regiments of things that I have to do for myself. Or there are days where it's like, you know what? It can't happen. Because for whatever reasons, like you have to listen to yourself and listen to your body, listen to your mind. But there's also things that I do for myself that keep me going. Like I know that I will have I guess I'll tell you. I get foot massages all the time. Like, and that is my
Post of
thing.
them.
I do. There's something about sitting in a chair and knowing I have nowhere to be for that hour, and it's
yeah.
just me,
And
and I get
Gordy
to
Wilson. Yeah.
Me and Gordy Wilson and my bunion, and we can just all coexist.
Um.
We all can just coexist.
No.
So you
Yeah.
carve out happy things. Like I also found joy in swimming. Like I find joy. I also find joy in teaching. Like I love teaching. I love master classes. I love throwing a new combo on you know a dance team to see what it looks like for something I might use later.
Right.
Yes.
Related to this, I would say you're very good at, so marketing, social, generally being active on social.
Am I?
I think you're pretty good at it. I mean, you're better than.
We talk about you. We talk about you a lot, apparently.
I mean, you're better.
Yeah, but the game now, like the game now is so strong. Like there's this like new the social media era of like TikToks and like it's just really just next level. I do what I do what I can. Okay, I do what I can, but like,
and what is that?
there are teams that
doing what you can, because I would say you do a good job documenting. It says like half of the battle is just documenting what you're doing, like just documenting yourself. Like if, as opposed to like having to come up with new content all the time, it's like, let me just take pictures when I'm out. When I'm seeing people, you're good at that, I would argue.
I'm a selfie king. I love to document the moment. I love a selfie. I do.
Yeah. Where does that habit come from? Is that something that you had to work to build? Because that is a skill. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know it sounds so basic, but like how many times Joshua and I, when we're in shows or we're doing, like, it's amazing. Like you would think I'm like, I never am sharing. I'm never posting. I'm never documenting when I see cool things or see cool people or do cool projects. Like it's a skill to have that back of mind awareness to go like, oh, let me share this or let me just take a picture. I know this sounds like such a basic bitch question, but like, does this just come naturally to you? Is it something that you're conscious of? Like talk a bit about this, because I think it's
not really. I started Instagram when I was presenting on the Tonys. And that I didn't have Instagram on. Yeah, yes. And they were like, "You don't have Instagram? You have to get it." And I got it, and then I realized what it was, and it's just me doing a little collage. It's just me like being like, "Hey, this is happening," And
but now, what about TikTok? Knowing that TikTok, I know, but okay, but this is my question.
Could I though? I don't know.
What do you mean?
Maybe.
Why don't you think?
It's just. I don't know if I need any more distraction, and B, it's to get it just right. You have to get it just right, and like I see like my castmates like Amber Arlino, JJ Neiman, they are just masters of that. Like it was hard getting to this right now. Okay, so I could take a selfie for sure, but but selfies are great, but then they want the professional photo. That it's that next. You have to like.
Interesting.
Selfies are great, but like for the branding, everything has to be a little more polished, I feel, and like you have to do the Nikon camera photo, and curate, Do
you think that's more for musical theater though, for example?
I think it depends on where you want to go. But what is musical theater versus like Hollywood? Like it depends on the direction you want to go.
Well, I don't, listen, we talk about, this is why you come up actually, because one of the things that we talk about is it's like here's where JJ and Amber, both of whom I follow and love their content. I think JJ's so adorable.
And just so damn talented. They're both so damn talented.
Truly, that video of him and Greg Banks falling, that was so good. I loved it. And JJ, I have to send it to you, Mike. It was so funny. They were doing like some like Broadway Cures. I don't know, like
yeah, we did Broadway Cures curtain speech, and unfortunately, he did a kick, and his other foot fell from under him, and Scarlett took a tumble, and it was
so good,
so funny. But he's okay. That's why we can laugh. They're okay, so we can laugh.
But we often talk about how for musical theater performers or comedians, creating social content in a lot of ways is easier, in our opinions, than when you are trying to sell, I do Chekhov and Shakespeare. Only because, like, you could share yourself singing, doing comedy, it feels easier. But someone doing a monologue, into the phone in all earnest, it has like a twinge of cringe.
It's different.
So it's different. Exactly.
It's very different.
And so JJ and Amber sharing, like, you know, JJ's content is super niche, and it's like about the life of a Broadway performer. That's the whole angle of, like, I'm a Broadway performer and this is my life. And Broadway musical theater performer. And he does it with tongue in cheek, and he's super smart and funny, but it's harder for, like, and I'm a bit of an anomaly, not necessarily in a good way, but like, take Mike as an example. Like, we talk about this all the time. I don't think you mind talking about this. It's
We'll
like
see.
when you're trying to tell like Mike's story, which is Mike's super talented and also super unique, but it becomes harder. So why am I babbling on about this in relation to you and Instagram and TikTok? Because I would argue, Jelani, that you could probably, and I feel confident you are on. You have to be on TikTok. You are on TikTok, right?
Yeah. I haven't released anything though.
Okay, but I bet you, like, you, and you're right, and it sounds like the workflow is the question. It's meaning,
Yes, the work. It's a big to do.
exactly.
It's not easy to do it well. It's not easy to edit and all that and curate and figure out what's what. So
But
kudos.
this is why I respect your process of, like, just documenting. I think you do a really
Right.
good job, because that's where it can begin, right? Like, you are active.
Totally.
You are active. You are posting, and sometimes we let the ideal of what the social media content could be get in the way of just us beginning to be like, well, let me just take some more fucking selfies when I'm doing things, or like when I'm with my friends, or when I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be perfect right away. And that's why I reference you a lot in terms of, like, you're someone who's consistent, who's active, who has a presence, and it's mainly by just documenting, you know, just showing up on the platform, documenting what's going on in your life here and there. I think it's a really good lesson. That's my opinion about that. But yeah.
Thanks, Mike. You want to take a selfie sometime?
Yes, would love to.
Okay,
Yes.
but do you know? But again, I'm sorry. I'm gonna harp on this a little bit more, because one more thing. One of the things that you are really good at, Jelani, that I think a lot of people are not, to just say something about that selfie thing. When you are out and about, it doesn't. We've been on the street together. When you saw Leah Michelle, and I know you know each other, but you'll walk over and you'll be like, hey, and you'll take a selfie, and it doesn't feel awkward or odd. It's like part of your flow.
Well, I don't. Did I walk up and be like, "Hey," and take a picture? Because that is.
Well, you did, but
did we talk? Did I talk to her
yes,
for a
no,
bit, and then we're like, "Let's take a picture"?
no. So here's what you do, because I've seen you do it.
Oh.
You. It's not like you go up and you're like, hey, can we take a picture? You're like, you go up because she knew who you were. You guys were. I don't know how you guys know each other, but you guys know each other. You're having some sort of dialogue, and then, as you've done many times, you just sort of hold up the phone, which is kind of like, you just keep it natural and going and easy, and you're like, and you just take the picture and you keep it moving, and you do this. You did this with, like, every celebrity that came to see Ain't Too Proud. You know how to do it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I think for a lot of people, it's like even harder for them to just take the fucking selfie.
Shoot your shot, friends. Shoot your shot.
Well, that's what I wanted you to speak to too. I think it's like, yeah, it's like, because that's what you absolutely. Why would you not do that? Why would
A
you
lot of
not
it is because I want to show my mom, but also I want to capture the moment.
Listen?
But that's what I mean. But and just going back to the word that Mike was using earlier about, sorry, we're really psychoanalyzing your
the social media
Well,
angle.
because like, take JJ and Amber, both super talented individuals, but yes, so who cares? So is everybody. I'm not being rude by that. I'm saying they're super talented. One of the things they're doing is capitalizing on it, given the moment, and are able to build a whole. The two of them have a huge, I would argue, not only a fan base but a career. You cannot tell me that is not being. That's part of what it simply means to be alive in this moment, is to monetize content. If
Good
you're
business.
able.
It's good business.
Exactly.
It's good business.
But I love this. I love this mantra, as you know, obvious as it sounds. Because, like I said, it's so easy to jump to, like, the perfect version, and you know, But like, you know, listen, like, I think that if one day, if that is something you want to invest in and, like, upgrade in a sense, or what, What? Why is what? What did I miss?
You just got crackly for a
I
second.
get so
Jesse.
nervous. I get nervous. I'm sorry, Mike.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
about what? What? I'm going to say something crazy.
Your sound, your sound was getting crackly. Like we were going to lose you again.
Okay.
Right.
But what
I hear what you're saying though, Mike.
This mantra of capturing
it's
the
not
moment.
about perfection for me.
Right.
It's not about perfection for me. It's really not.
And it's effective.
Okay. And but see, I do think, I don't know if this is true for you, Mike. I'm not so worried about quote unquote perfection per se, but myself, but I do hear like this is what stops a lot of people from simply engaging in social media is a sense of like what everything has to go out as perfection. That's why the only thing I'd push back on, Jelani, about the quality of the photo, even the camera, is, we walk around with some of those, the best cameras in the world, these days. And I do think like part of it's just like throwing paint against the wall,
Sure.
and being like, what are people responding to? I also, though, just to say, when I look at your Instagram, for example, as I'm pulling it up.
If I work in a PR team, I think things would be different, but I do it because I like it. Like I just post what I like, or like I put up what I like, or something that makes me laugh,
Right.
or
Right.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I'm looking at your, and it's, but see, just to say again, it's not overly curated. It still feels like we're getting a fresh sense of you. Meaning, and again, what I was going to say before I got sidetracked was the word that Mike was using earlier that I do think is true is there is a sense of an authentic sense of self and a genuine approach to like your joy sharing,
Right.
that I think makes it probably easier to want to go along that journey with you. Yes, on socials, but in a macro sense, again, just sort of like coming along for the Jelani Remy ride of your industry and life. And again, I know it might sound like kitschy and bullshitty, but it's not, because that's the gig of what it means to be a public figure as an artist, is
Right.
hopefully you're bringing along people for the ride. And I think that this conversation we're having about lifting up the idea of connecting genuinely with your community and giving back and doing it because you love it and finding the positivity in it
Right.
is really it can't be overlooked, because Mike, you also said it earlier. This business is a fucking nightmare. I mean, it really it's hard. And I love to hear you talk about it so positively, Jelani, because you really clearly love it. And yet,
but I'm
I'm
not going to
sure
deny it is hard. It is hard. Yes, but it is hard, but I feel like it's necessary, and it's you have to overcome the obstacles, and that's part of the ride. That is part of the ride. It's about the lens you overcome it with.
Right. Did you see that interview with Coleman
That's it.
Domingo at New Fest where it's like going viral? It's like a clip of him being like, he's like, I don't tell people it's hard. He's like, I don't talk about the business as being hard.
I did see that.
Because I don't like to, because words matter, and I don't like to pervade this sort of idea of, and it was interesting, and it's like, it's like what I hear you saying, Jelani. It's like that lens, right? It's like, yes, what lens are you going to look at it through? I think we just two more questions, because you've been so generous with your time and it's your day off. The first question is, what advice along this? What advice do you want to give to young performers, or do you give to young performers as you work with them who sort of dream of doing what you've done and making a career out of this? What advice would you have for them?
I would say welcome, and remember that like you are enough. And if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. I say that a lot. But also, like, don't let the no's define you. Don't let the rejection define you. No doesn't mean no, it means not right now. And not everything is for you. Not everything is for you. And that's just a truth. But also, this is all for you, if that makes sense. Not everything is for you, but this business, there is a place for you. And timing is everything.
I love that. And
snap.
and you know, the last question, and I'm curious to hear you. You know, in the future, you know, what do you see the future being for yourself? Like, if you think about it, and you know, what do you see in your future? And
Yeah, I'm getting this
yeah,
question a lot right now because our show is closing in
right,
January. So it's like, and
January 8th,
the
right?
immediate question is, what's next?
I'm gonna be
The 5th.
the 5th. I'll be seeing.
So
I have to.
if you come the 8th, you'll be sadly mistaken.
I'm definitely gonna see it before it closes. I've been meaning to
You
see
have
it.
to
So
come see
I will.
Gordy do his thing.
Yeah, good old Gordy, giving
Good
foot
old
massages. Yep.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. But that's just it. Like, I think I want to create more. I want to evolve even more and start
Yeah.
directing more, start choreographing more. And I just think happiness is the main thing. I want to continue just to keep my happy
Yeah.
and create. So I'm going to do that.
Well, I I didn't really know what to expect from this conversation, Jelani, mainly because, again, I know you so well, and also Mike can tell you, like, I like to have angles for all of our episodes, like what's the consideration, and Mike was actually the one who the other day um was like, well, let's see what the conversation brings up with Jelani, and we can go from there. And I'm saying this because uh the theme of this whole conversation has been, that I'm grateful for, again, is this idea of positivity, finding joy in what you're doing, and creating your not only career but life and community because you love it, you know, because it means something to you, and that we often talk about a why are we doing this, what do we care about, and to me that's just palpable for you. So anyway, you know, I
Yeah.
love you, and I'm so happy you're here. Now, before we go though, we do have one segment we always end every episode with that I didn't tell you about. It's we all get naked. No, it's called Comfort Food Performances, and it's where we pick a favorite performance of ours, a performance that we can come back to time and time again, or just something that we love. So I'll kick us off, and this is no bullshit. I really mean it. Jelani was my favorite part of I loved all of Back to the Future. But what was your song? What was it?
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, gotta start somewhere. That's right. It was the best song in the whole show, and that's no shade to anybody else. It was a lovely show, but you gotta start somewhere was my favorite song in the show. Totally unbiasedly, I wouldn't tell you if I didn't like it, but I loved it, so I'm telling you that I loved it. That was my comfort food performance, Jelani, as Goldie with an L Wilson in Back to the Future. Specifically, you gotta start somewhere. Gay ass lame hat. Gold lame hat.
We love a reveal. We love a reveal.
Yes. That's mine.
I'll do you know, it's funny. For some reason well, I'll say I saw Gladiator 2 last night. And Denzel Washington is giving
Bravo.
an iconic, shocking performance. I thought, because he's like, have you guys seen the first Gladiator?
Yes.
What's that guy? There's that guy, the gladiator trainer, Oliver Reed. You know, he's like very tough. He's like scary, but he's like very flamboyant because he's like a performer. He's like a talent manager for the gladiators. And Denzel is giving like fabulous, like femme energy, while also being like very tough. Like, you know, he's like hitting on this guy and like kissing this dude. He's just like, and he is all.
What?
Oh, dude, it's fucking amazing. And he's
What movie did you see?
Gladiator 2.
Okay.
And he's like constantly like adjusting his robes, and he's just like giving like very like femme top energy or something. Like, it's very like
Denzel. Okay.
Denzel. It's a brilliant performance. I thought it was, but then he's like scary, and then he does like because he is the bad guy in it, and then so he can just turn and be like, but it is a bold. The movie was not great, and that's the thing, is everybody's, you know, kind of going back to like do your thing. Everybody's doing the assignment. They're like, we're in Gladiator, and we're like just gonna be like this the whole time. And Denzel's coming on being like, ha ha, just like fixing his earrings and doing all this shit. It's fabulous.
Oh my gosh!
He's just
wow.
It's a fabulous performance. So Denzel, yes.
Denzel as Femtop in Gladiator
Yes.
2.
That is wild. Wild.
And
For me, I have to go back to the OG. It is A Sucker Born Every Minute from the Paper Mill
Oh,
Playhouse
shit.
Rising Star Awards,
Shut the fuck
featuring Joshua
up.
Morgan holding the note me. Truly.
I have
also
to.
did
Is
a
there a
little giggle
video of
there.
it?
Biggest one is, he said, biggest one is
I didn't know.
me. You did a cute little giggle. You stole the show. You stole my heart. You stole all the hearts in Millburn, New Jersey.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's good. All right.
Well,
Thanks, Jelani.
we love you, Jelani.
Love you, dude.
Thank
That
you
was
so
great.
See you both.
much.
Have a great day.